Alright guys, so we are back with episode 3 now of this little series of Rec to Reg or Fish Learns Poker. Still need to pick one of those and stick with it, but yeah, let's see how we did. I've got the graph up still from last week so we can compare, but this week went a little bit better. So last week was just under 5k hands, this week got 6k. And we actually have quite a nice looking graph for once. Quite happy with the red line especially. I think we've definitely ran hot, obviously, at 12 bigs per 100. But yeah, we didn't have as many unfortunate all-in situations as last time where we just lost like some flips. So that was nice to see. And then towards the end of the week, on the last day, like there were just fish everywhere on the tables. So yeah, this is the graph we're looking at. Overall, felt like it was a pretty good week. None of the sessions felt particularly strenuous or, it just felt quite stable. Obviously, we ran quite well. There weren't too many spots where I was super confused, but what I've done this week is I've splashed the cash on the premium version of GTO Wizard, so I can upload. I can't remember what the maximum is for the weekly or the monthly uploads, but I think it's 100,000 or something. So I'm clearly not putting in the volume to get anywhere near that. So I think going forward in these little updates, I'm gonna grab the week's hands and upload them, and then we can take a look at a few hands in GTO Wizard. Sorted by the EV loss, so we can see where I've really inted and thrown away some hands. So I think that'd be good. But yeah, overall, decent week. I was away today, which is Sunday and Saturday. Went to Chester with my partner and both our parents because we're maybe considering a move up there in the future. So yeah, all of this volume was sort of Monday to Friday. So pretty happy with that. Also bumped back up to 3 tables for the most part, and I'm feeling okay with that now. I think earlier on when I first started 10 and L, it was a bit tricky for me to sort of still be there mentally in all the spots and not just click buttons. So yeah, that's probably helped with the volume. So from here on out, it'll be 3 tables of 10 and L reg tables on the stars. And I will quickly show the overall graph. So I think, where are we now? So we got 26k. So I don't know, around here is where we started this series, but I don't know whether you guys want a graph of all of this or just an overall from when the series started. I guess that would make more sense. So why not adjust this? Oh Christ, I can't remember these. Are just date. Hand date. Greater than or equal to, and we started this. When the hell did we start this? So we just had this week, so I'm guessing it was there, right? Is that the graph? I'll tidy this up for next time, but this is sort of a more accurate graph of the series, I suppose. Just check. So we had 5,000 plus the 6,000, so about 11,000 hands. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So I'll keep it like this from now on. This will be our overall. So right now we are, four bigs per 100. And I guess that would be a winning player, but very small sample size for now, so we'll keep going. And yeah, get into GTO Wizard quickly. So like I say, I'm still quite new to this, but I've just uploaded this week's hands, and we can order them by EV loss. They already were. And yeah, we'll just go through a few. Jesus. And see what we see. So, Queen Jack in the big blind. This is apparently our worst played hand this week. We make the call. Going to be checking range here. And facing a fairly large... Is that... Oh yeah, that is massive actually. So basically a pot-sized bet. So I can see why the solver's, yeah, maybe considering a fold. I think something I'll need to do as well in next episodes, I'll go ahead and find these hands and look at the villain. Because in Cheeto Wizard, I'm not sure if this is one of those fish I was talking about, but sizing's a bit weird from him. So maybe it is one of the fish. And he was short stacked as well, wasn't he? So probably was. So it's probably calling a bit wider. But yeah, it's not a huge difference. So I'm fine with the call, especially if it had exploitative reasons. Turn comes to 6, nothing major. He then goes for another pot-sized bet. So the solver's obviously going to recommend folding here. I think that makes sense against most of the population. If this was a reg, then I would definitely have folded at this point. I'm assuming this is because it's one of my tagged opponents. Maybe I'll quickly find the hand after this. And we do make the call again. And I feel like if I'm making the call now, I'm going to have to call... Essentially, he's going to be fairly low. And if he's playing this aggressively, he's likely to shove. So if I am going to make this call, I'm probably needing to go all the way. But we'll see what happens. 9 of hearts. Not too dangerous, I suppose. So no flushes. Obviously, some straights just got there, but we check it on across. He punts it in for another pot-sized bet. So yeah, I did fold because I think triple barreling was pretty likely that we would beat. I mean, even against a fish. You know, he's got king, queen, ace, queen in his range, so yeah, it's an awkward spot to be in now, because if it is a looser player, I hate the fact that I folded, because if the reason I've continued to this point anyway was because he's a fish, then that logic still applies, and I guess I should just be calling quite wide, but against triple pot size bets, it's just quite uncomfortable. We're actually supposed to all in at this point, which I guess makes sense because he's always going to call, so if we think he is just doing this with any old hand, might as well max out the value there. But in fact, do we know when this hand was? So it was on the 4th. Let me quickly pull it up. Let's go session by day. I'm imagining this is going to be one of my bigger losers. Queen Jack, there we go. Pull it up here. Just going to wait for the HUD to load. If it will load. I have to go through the whole thing. What's going on? Oh, show HUD's off. That would probably help. Okay. Alright, so he's not... I've only got 118 hands on him, but stats are kind of odd. He's fairly loose, his VPIP, and so this is VPIP and RFI, PFR. There's quite a big gap there, and with 0 3-bet percentage, yeah, I guess that's a bit fishy. And the sub 100 stack, so maybe it's justified, I don't know, but I think the fold on the river's terrible. If I'm gonna go into it thinking he's a fish, I should just go all the way. But let's get on to another hand. So that was a blunder. We lost 7.18% there. Let's take a look here. Like I said, I'll probably do just a few of these for now. So we get ace king on the button. Obviously going to raise that up. Okay, so monotone with top pair, top kicker. So we opt for a small bet on this. And it's equal EV between this and checking. So I guess that's fine. Would I ever check this hand in practice? I don't know if I would, because I think ace king's too good. Maybe if I had king jack, I probably would consider a check, or I probably would check. But ace king, I think I just want to start building the pot. We do get raised, and this hand's just a little too good to fold, so we make the call. And I'm going to check it across, so that's a pretty horrible turn. But we get it checked over to us here. I think I would always check here. I can see the solver's fine with a small or 66% pot bet. Yeah, I think I'm just always going to check here in practice. These aren't, by the way, me talking about these spots, it's not me saying that I think I know better than the solver. It's just I like to verbalize my thought process so that in the future I can look back and see, you know, maybe what I'm saying now is completely terrible. And it'll be fun to come back and poke fun at myself. But yeah, I think in these spots, I'm currently definitely always checking here. So it's interesting to see that I can, you know, it's even-ish between checking and betting here. And then he bets, which I think is a bit strange because if you had a decent flush, like if he did have the ace of clubs, the check on the turn's quite surprising. But we are meant to fold to that. So I guess, like, we only lose here, right, if he has the ace of clubs, because it would just be a chop otherwise. Unless he had queen jack of clubs, I guess. But we are meant to fold here. It's actually quite a massive EV loss to call. I would have thought that with the check on the turn, that this is quite a random bet here. I would have thought ace. Actually, let's check, because we can do that. How do we do it? I just want to see what hands he's actually betting with here on the turn, because he check raised the flop. Nothing, or barely nothing. Interesting. So even with these hands, he's only checking. So I guess that could be due to the fact that if he's got the ace of clubs, then he's obviously blocking all of the ace flushes that I could have. So maybe he's trying to induce bluffs, or the solver's trying to induce bluffs here because there's just not a lot for me to call with. Maybe that's it. Who knows? But yeah, we do in fact call that. So interesting. I'm not sure how to come away from that. I think, like, I'm not sure again about the opponent here. Could have been one of the many fish of the session, but that's an interesting spot to me. I definitely would have folded if I saw... So if he continued the aggression after the check raise, like if he barreled again here, I probably would have just folded. But with this check, that's the reason I stuck in here. And I feel like I see too many of these little random stabs on the river on these really wet boards. But hey, there we go. Just something to be aware of. I'm rambling once again. Don't know how long we've been recording for. So yeah, we'll make this one the last one. Ace queen in the big blind. We do make the call. I'm surprised I only call there with ace queen. Very surprised actually. Maybe that was earlier in the week. Yeah, that was earlier. That was the first. So I think I revisited some of the Carrot Poker School content around the second or third day of the week. So yeah, really surprised I call here, but fair enough. As played, we call and check. Quite a nice flop for us. He bets 2. So the way I viewed this, I can see here call is more favoured. Not by a lot, to be fair. But when I'm out of position and I've got what I would consider like a value hand or a very strong value hand, I probably would raise here quite often. How much do we actually raise here? Yeah, pretty standard for my sizing. Just because of the fact that we're out of position, I don't want to call and then check again and then lose a street of value. I wonder if the calling is because the board's a bit more connected. So like Jack Queen, maybe if this was Queen 7 Deuce, it would have preferred the raise. But yeah, I think for me personally, I just simplify. If I'm out of position, I've got a strong hand, that's probably where I'm going to be throwing in my check raises, just because I don't want to lose a whole street of value in case it goes check check on the turn. As played, it gets called. A fairly harmless 4 of spades, and yeah, on these harmless or more harmless turn cards, I'm just going to barrel pretty much exclusively right now for 66%. If we don't improve, that is, maybe I would use a bigger size than if an ace came. But yeah, 66. Solver doesn't hate it. Now, ace of hearts on the river is interesting. We do decide to go all in here. So, slight overbet. And yeah, the solver way prefers a smaller bet. So trying to think why that would be. So obviously the flushes did just get there. King 10, like some straights got there. Excuse me. We did improve to a 2 pair, but in terms of relative hand strength, with all of the flush combos that got there, we don't block anything. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe part of it's you bet small to induce them to go over the top with something where their flush draws may have missed, like maybe a spade flush draw. I'm not sure, but maybe this is just a bit too thin to go all in, and he does fold in the end. So maybe could have got a bit more value there out of a weaker queen, maybe king queen, something like that. But yeah, interesting. Okay, so I do like this. Like I say, I'm going to be doing this every week now. Just I think this is the most methodical way of trying to find like those big EV loss situations. Because yeah, like these for example, 2 out of the top 3, or even 4 out of the top 5 are actually winners for me. So I probably wouldn't have spotted them just by going into HM3. So I think this is definitely worth the investment. But I'll pull the graph up one more time. But overall, pretty good week. Hopefully we can keep up that sort of volume. I will be away next week from, I think, Friday to Friday. Or is it Friday to Sunday? I'm not sure, but excuse me. So I might have to take a week off, but I can do a bit of study in that time. Or maybe even just go on GTO Wizard, look at some of these hands a bit more and study that way. But, and as far as the CPS, I did, as I say, go back over some of the other lectures that I'd already covered. And I feel pretty confident with the first 5 lectures now. So this week is going to be new content for me. So I'm setting myself the target now of at least going through lectures 6 and 7 this week, and making notes on those. So we'll see in the next video if I get there. But yeah, overall, decent week. We're now up overall $44 in 10NL, which is huge, of course. But if we could, yeah, keep up the sun run from this week, because I would love to start taking some shots at higher stakes, but got to be patient. I'm just happy to see that the red line isn't killing us quite as much. But yeah, that's about it. So thank you again if you're watching this journey. Would love to hear about your guys' tables, how they're going, what stakes you guys are playing at, how new you are to the game. And yeah, I think that's about it. So I will catch you guys in a week or two's time, depending on when I can make another video with the trip next week. But yeah, good luck on the tables, and I will see you guys in the next episode.